Tuesday of the 22nd week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, the Spirit scrutinizes everything, even the depths of God. Among men, who knows what pertains to the man except his spirit that is within? Similarly, no one knows what pertains to God except the Spirit of God. We have not received the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may understand the things freely given us by God. And we speak about them not with words taught by human wisdom, but with words taught by the Spirit, describing spiritual realities in spiritual terms. Now the natural man does not accept what pertains to the Spirit of God, for to him it is foolishness, and he cannot understand it, because it is judged spiritually. The one who is spiritual, however, can judge everything, but is not subject to judgment by anyone. For who has known the mind of the Lord so as to counsel him? But we have the mind of Christ. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, "The Lord is just in all his ways." The Lord is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and of great kindness. The Lord is good to all and compassionate toward all his works. The Lord is just in all his ways. Let all your works give you thanks, O Lord, and let your faithful ones bless you. Let them discourse of the glory of your kingdom and speak of your might. The Lord is just in all his ways, making known to men your might and the glorious splendor of your kingdom. Your kingdom is a kingdom for all ages, and your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is just in all his ways. The Lord is faithful in all his words, and holy in all his works. The Lord lifts up all who are falling, and raises up all who are bowed down. The Lord is just in all his ways.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus went down to Capernaum, a town of Galilee. He taught them on the Sabbath, and they were astonished at his teaching, because he spoke with authority. In the synagogue there was a man with the spirit of an unclean demon, and he cried out in a loud voice, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus rebuked him and said, "Be quiet, come out of him." Then the demon threw the man down in front of them and came out of him without doing him any harm. They were all amazed and said to one another, "What is there about his word? For with authority and power he commands the unclean spirits, and they come out." And news of him spread everywhere in the surrounding region. The Gospel of the Lord.
Tuesday of the 22nd week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from 1 Corinthians 2, 10b to 16. In this passage, Paul contrasts the spirit of the world and the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit knows the very secrets of God, knows the mysteries of God, and therefore is able to reveal those mysteries to us. Those mysteries were revealed through the wisdom of the Spirit that Paul proclaimed when he came to Corinth. Remember, he didn't speak in the wisdom of the world. He didn't proclaim philosophy as he did in Athens, but rather he spoke about the cross. And that's not a human wisdom. Who will accept this wisdom of the Spirit? Those who are filled with the Spirit. Because they will recognize that when somebody speaks the truth of the Spirit, that the Spirit has already revealed that in their hearts. They will recognize it as something internal and not just words that come from the outside. The person, however, who doesn't have the Spirit, Paul speaks about that person as a natural person, an unspiritual person. Not in the sense that they're opposed to the Spirit, but they simply don't have the gift of the Spirit. That person will not be able to accept the wisdom of the Spirit, the wisdom of the cross, because it'll make no sense to that person. The Gospel is from Luke 4, 31 to 37. Jesus goes to a synagogue on the Sabbath in Capernaum, and he exorcises a man who's possessed by a demon. In fact, the demon is able to recognize who Jesus is, calls him the Holy One of God. Jesus' response, he silences the demon and casts him out. And what is the response of the people? They recognize that Jesus has the very authority of God. That it's not simply human authority, but rather this is an authority that goes beyond anything they've seen before. There's a lot of talk in the Gospels about possession, demonic possession, and things like that. And we do believe that that exists. But it probably is not as common as is found in the Gospels. Because in the Gospels, anyone who was ill, anyone who was weak, was considered somehow possessed by a demon. We wouldn't define it in those terms anymore. Nevertheless, do we have to call upon the Lord to give us strength against the demon, against Satan? We have to respond absolutely, because we are weak, and Satan is very subtle. Satan gets us to do what is wrong, not by convincing us to sell our souls to the devil, but by convincing us that what we're doing is not really so bad, is what everybody else is doing. We'll enjoy it. We deserve a little bit of fun. Satan is so subtle that we don't even recognize that we're being suckered in. And so we have to call upon the Lord to clarify our insights, to make sure that we live in the truth. And may God bless us.